And hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Box Office Shuffle. This week, we're watching Ghostbusters, the timeless classic from 1984. I'm one of your hosts, Thomas, aka Mr. Warper. Joining me, as always, is Joe, aka Joe.
Joe.
Okay, I was gonna say, I hope Discord's not cutting you off again.
No, I hope that.
Okay, and then joining us, we have Chris, aka Gamma Caruchador.
Yo, busting makes me feel good.
That's the quote I should have used for the intro.
Oh yeah, it
And
should
then
have been.
joining us for, I think, have we had a guest one?
Yeah,
I've been on before
Yeah.
once. I
Yeah.
think it was
Yeah,
the
you were.
season
Little
one episode.
Giants. Little
Yeah, we
Giants.
did for
Giants.
Little Giants. That's what
Little
it was.
Giants.
It's been so
Yes,
long.
right.
We didn't have this overlay, so that's why I was wondering if we didn't do that before. I think that might have predated our current overlay. Anyway, it's Patrick, aka Mr. Fusion.
Greetings and salutations, and my quote is, "This chick is toast."
Which apparently
Hey.
this might be the first use of that word as a slang term for like dead or over.
Toast?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
interesting.
pop culture wise, they're like this might be the first like when this entered the pop culture lexicon for the first time.
Okay.
Was
Okay.
this chick is toast. That was one of my notes, so that I can cross that off the list. So, but we just got done watching Ghostbusters. We're recording this on October 12th, 2025. So we did this for a little afternoon matinee with our Discord. Had a few people drop in, and then obviously we're sitting down to record. Not the first time any of us have seen this movie,
No.
but I'll read you the back of the box art anyway. And if you haven't seen Ghostbusters before, and like you're watching this as like a reaction podcast for some reason, I mean, number one, I assume you're a very young person. In which case, cool, you watched an awesome old movie. And if you're not, what were you doing with your life? All right, so here's the back of the box art off my physical media, because it's a physical media podcast where the three of us, and also Fusion sometimes, take our physical media collections, put them in a shuffler, and it spits out what we're going to watch for the episode. And I have the 4K. I want to say this came out, was this the 2019 re-release? Hang on, let me look at the copyright. Nope, might be the 2016 re-release.
Okay.
I have a copyright 2016 on here.
Is it 4K or just
It is
Blu-ray?
4K, but we watched the Blu-ray because I don't have a 4K
Gotcha.
player for the PC. Eventually, when I get my new PC, I'm gonna buy a 4K, but then I'll have to upgrade to like Nitro or something for streaming it because I can only do 1080p right now.
Yeah.
All right, so when kooky, spooky college profs Peter Venkman and Ray Stans or Stance? Does he say it's the second
Stance.
T?
It's
Stance and Egon
Stance.
Spangler lose their university jobs. They decide to go freelance, de-haunting New York City with a new ghost removal service. As soon as they open their doors, their first order of business becomes saving beautiful cellist Dana Barrett and nerdy Louis Tully, who was apparently originally supposed to be played by John Candy, not Rick Moranis.
Yes. Yes.
Who've inadvertently opened the gates of hell right in their own apartment building. Experience all the particle beams and ectoplasm like never before in full 4K resolution with high dynamic range. Which I have watched the 4K of it. It looks real nice. Because I did that in preparation for Ghostbusters Afterlife originally. And yeah, it's a good looking 4K transfer, I won't lie. So this movie released on June 8th, 1984. It was directed by Ivan Reitman, written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. It had a rough budget of about $30 million, though that's really in dispute. One of the quotes that I think it was Reitman had, we were just like, we just made the number up. We didn't fucking know. And they shot it in like, what did they do? It was either 13 months or 13 weeks. I can't remember. I'd have to go back through my quotes. But it was like really like, they had no idea how much it was going to cost because this is one of the first comedies that used special effects to the degree that they did. It had a box office of about $370 million. And I couldn't find anything on home media sales, though the one gross number I could find from like some 2016 reporting was about like 15 million, but it's got to be more than that because that's not counting the VHS and the original DVD. That was just counting Blu-ray and the other remasters that have come out since. So that number's probably way too low.
Mm-hmm.
We were starring Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis, Sigourney Weaver, Annie Potts, William Atherton, Ernie Hudson, and others, but that's the main call sheet. So, gentlemen, other than today, when was the last time you had watched Ghostbusters?
Oh man. I would say maybe a year ago. I'd probably say that's probably the last time I watched it. Besides right now.
Probably like 3 or 4 years ago for me. I probably watched it for like a Halloween time, much like now, just to have a good Halloween movie on.
I saw this 2 weeks ago at the Alamo Draft House because it's an annual visit for me to go watch Ghostbusters at the Draft House every year, and they have
They do it
a
every single year.
every single year they show
Ooh.
Ghostbusters.
Oh damn.
Now they do every summer they do a like a retro like summer where they show movies from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. They mix those in throughout the summer. This slate this summer wasn't very good just because, 94 wasn't a good year for movies, 30 years ago, and
Yeah.
2004 had some decent movies, but um 84 last year it was the anniversary, so the whole thing fit last year, and they had a whole party for it. They had like slime, they gave out slime, they had toys, all this good stuff. But honestly, every Halloween they show Ghostbusters, and so I have to go every year. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you
Nice.
got it. I mean, that's one of the reasons
yeah,
I put it in my my wheel spin for the Discord choice because of the time of the year. We ended up pulling that as an option.
right.
So yeah, like I said, for me, the last time I think I did watch the disc version was in the lead up to Afterlife, but I
Okay,
have watched it digitally a couple times since. I think we did another because we were talking about this in our last show. I want to say after Afterlife released digitally, because everyone couldn't see it in theaters, we did a whole Ghostbusters 1-2 Afterlife like weekend, if I remember
yeah.
right. That was a few
Mhm.
years ago now. But man, this does make me want to watch Afterlife again because Afterlife was a lot of fun.
So no talk of
Afterlife is
Frozen
great.
Kingdom. Are we just not going to
I
talk
never
about
even
Frozen
saw it
Kingdom?
because I didn't want to. It just didn't
Okay.
look.
Also, we don't need to mention the
Nope.
SNL gals one.
No, that
Which
that
again,
quasi reboot.
Yeah.
the cast was
Yeah.
great. What the
Oh, the
story
cast was
made no
fantastic.
sense
I
at
think I
all.
think you and I, Warburg, I think when we did Wafer years ago, we talked about that
Oh,
whole thing.
probably it was
Just
just like
the concept of like, really, you're gonna have Leslie Jones be I'm the street person. It's like we're falling into tropes that we shouldn't have to.
yeah, like clearly didn't learn the lesson of the first Ghostbusters.
Right,
Like
right,
just listen to Ernie Hudson talk about his character and then just don't do that again.
right. But we did it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, okay. I'm just fair. I just wanted to know if anybody else, because I liked Frozen Kingdom a little more than most people, but I get why they call it a bad movie. It's not as bad as Ghostbusters 2. It's nowhere near the 16 reboot, but Frozen Kingdom's okay. But Afterlife is a really good movie.
Yeah. So yeah. Some notes for me. I was doing some digging. I actually didn't realize that Harold Ramis was a joke writer for Playboy. I knew
Mhm.
he was a prolific comedy writer.
Oh.
That struck out as me. I was like, wait a minute. That was one of his first jobs in writing for a comedy beyond his work at SCTV. It was roughly around the same time. It's like that is an interesting note. Being a joke like writer and editor for Playboy back in the
Yeah.
late '60s, early '70s.
Do
That's
you
a
know the
heck of
other
a
magazine these guys loved to like do work collaborate with?
no.
Mad Magazine.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense.
Oh, that
Yeah.
makes total sense.
They
That
did a
that is
ton of
in their
collaboration.
wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was back in the 70s. National Lampoon and Mad Magazine were the go-tos for like raunchy kind of outside the box comedy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And speaking of National Lampoons, that was Harold Ramis's first filmography writing credit was
Right. Yeah.
National Lampoon's Animal House. And he's a prolific comedy writer. Wrote Stripes, Kindergarten Cop, Twins. No, that was Reitman. Sorry, I'm on Reitman's thing. It was Animal House, Caddyshack, Stripes, Groundhog Day, and he was the director for that. And as well as I forgot he wrote Bedazzled
Yes,
from
he
I want
did.
to say that was 2000 with Brendan Fraser, which I really like that movie. And then
I will
his
say though, he was phenomenal as a director for Caddyshack. That is quintessentially one. I think we did this years with Nick Schwartz years back. Quintessentially one of the best sports comedies out there.
oh, it's fantastic.
Caddyshack.
Oh,
It's
100%.
just a wonderful golf comedy. And then Reitman had worked a lot with Ramis. They worked together on Stripes. He was also director of Twins, Kindergarten Cop, and then odd one compared to some of his like the comedy work. 6 Days, 7 Nights with Harrison Ford. And then I think his last director credit was an objectively just awful football movie, Draft Day.
Oh,
Draft day. What the
Kevin
fuck?
Costner.
Kevin Costner is
Kevin
leading
Costner movie.
the Cleveland Browns, and it's about the story about leading up to the draft.
Oh god.
It
Okay.
just makes no sense, and clearly no one in the writers' room actually followed football. to any degree, and it was laughably dumb.
Yeah, the whole MacGuffin of that is just spoiler alert for everybody. He's a GM and he trades away to get the top pick, and then he trades away again in the middle of the draft. And basically, the whole MacGuffin is that he gets back the picks that he gave up at the beginning of the movie, and he got the players that he wanted at the end. It's a whole learning process of trust.
It's like, yeah, but
Not in
he's
football,
he's
guys.
been a GM before. Like, this isn't his first time.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
the whole movie's just absolutely idiotic.
And he basically baits in during the draft a rookie GM, and the rookie GM is so stressed out about it, he takes a really horrible deal. Like literally any other rookie GM would be fired in the middle of the draft after doing that, what he did. And it's
Fuck.
just it's just the MacGuffin is that, oh, we're gonna destroy our franchise going forward for the next few years, and then by the end of the day, oh, everything is saved. We got everything we wanted because of patience.
And
Yeah.
yet you're still the Cleveland Browns.
And
Yeah.
yet you're still
Yeah.
the Cleveland.
Like, the only thing they got right was that Cleveland would have had the top pick. Like, that's
Right.
like the only thing
No,
they
no, no.
got right.
The other thing is the Cleveland quarterback is often injured. That's the other thing they got right.
That's
So,
true.
You know.
That is very true. Ah, man, it's such a terrible movie, and it sucks that was his last directorial
Yeah,
feature.
it does.
Oh.
It
Because the
does.
script was garbage, just terrible. And he would pass away, I believe it was in 2022.
Yep.
And then his son would go on to direct Afterlife.
Right.
So yeah, I went through my notes on Ramis as a comedy writer, and it was, as we said while we were kind of wrapping up the watch party. Originally, this was a project that was meant to be between starring Aykroyd and John Belushi, and Aykroyd was writing it as a kind of interdimensional buddy comedy across different versions of Earth and time on Earth, battling supernatural entities. And it was apparently so fantastically expensive that even before Belushi died in '82, they couldn't get anybody to give them money for this project, even coming off their great success. I want to say was it Blues Brothers that was right before this for Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Him coming off that, they couldn't get anybody to fund their idea. But enough people, I want to say Columbia was initially involved, and they were like, well, we've worked with, Ramis and stuff and Reitman before. Do you guys want to take a crack at this? Because maybe there's something there just to see, work with these names that are making good movies. And Ramis then rewrote it to feature New York City and basically be set all in New York City and got done away with the interdimensional stuff. And then Aykroyd helped, really kind of focus in on the supernatural elements, like with this Tobin spirit guide and stuff. And he's definitely a true believer. Aykroyd is like, that's his whole shtick really anymore.
Have you ever listened to him on a podcast go into it?
I have not,
He was
no.
interviewed by the last podcast on the Left Guys years back. He's well versed. Let's put it like that. Of all the deep cryptology type of people out there, he's very well versed. And but the cool thing about Dan Aykroyd, when he goes into it, he doesn't treat it like a level of with a level of kookiness. He'll sit there casually and sip vodka like his crystal skull. He'll sit there and just chat with you for hours on end about cool stuff, man. And but he's out there. And just to correct it real quick, so there was a movie in '83. So Blues Brothers was in 1980. There was a movie in '83 that was supposed to be a blockbuster for Dan Aykroyd as a lead, and it was called Dr. Detroit. I don't know if you guys ever watched this movie. It is
Never.
fucking hilarious, but it is awful in equal parts awful as it is hilarious. But that was supposed to be his big breakout, and it failed. So Ghostbusters basically kind of saved him because coming out of SNL, all of these guys were like thriving in different spaces on cinema and TV and mostly cinema. But yeah, this Dr. Detroit was supposed to be his big thing. It was supposed to be this big trilogy movie, and it tanked the box office. The reviews were awful, and he was kind of spinning. So he put that script out there again, and I think like you said, the year before, Belushi had passed away, but Reitman and Harold Ramis thankfully got involved and were like, hey, we can turn this into a funny, fun movie. Like there's comedy in it, but it's very horror based comedy, and a lot of people won't get into that. So, and just another piece about this movie was PG. Should not have been
Oh,
a PG movie, but PG-13 didn't exist until a month after this movie came out.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. This movie came out June of '84, and in July they implemented the PG-13 rating.
Shit.
So yeah.
Wow.
Then one of my notes on casting, as well as with like pre-production stuff, They only were able to get Bill Murray because Columbia were like, "Hey, we'll pay to do The Razor's Edge," which was like his passion project, which
Yeah.
also sucked and didn't do very well. They're like, "We know this thing sucks. It's gonna lose money, but we really need you in Ghostbusters." And that was a extremely shrewd and correct move by execs and producers of, "Hey, we need this dude. Do whatever it takes to get him on set to make this movie."
Right.
Because he
Mhm.
Well,
absolutely
because
makes it
didn't
work.
if I remember correctly, they originally wanted Chevy Chase to be the Peter Venkman character,
Yeah, I
but
think so.
Chase had by this point, Vacation had come out and he was mega big. He was about to start filming Fletch, I think, at this point, but in '83 or '80, yeah, '83, I think. But he was super big. But then just because of SNL, whenever you have Chase around, you can't have Murray, and that works both ways. Like they hated each other. They got into a fight multiple times on the set of SNL, and that one year they worked together, and that was it. Like they never worked together ever again. And so it was supposed to be Chase was the guy that they originally wanted when they redrafted the script, but then because he's just a total asshole to work with, and he had so much in the pipeline, they were like, okay, we got to get Murray. If we're not going to have Chase, let's get Murray. Let's do whatever it takes to get Murray in. Yeah.
And then so, well, that was my casting note. Like I said, my other casting note was that Rick Moranis' character was, at least originally, they never were really that got far in talks. But John Candy was going to play the neighbor character that went to
Right.
Rick Moranis, and I can't see the character as John Candy.
Yeah, that would have been
No.
so different. They're
And
they're
apparently
different types of weird.
he wanted him to
Right.
be
And
like a
yeah.
German dog handler,
Yeah. Yeah.
like and speak with like a really thick German accent. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
really out there, even for this movie. And I'm glad they actually pivoted and went with Rick Moranis.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, circling back to Murray, that was my note. It's farther down on my sheet. This was actually one of the last movies he made before he kind of went into a semi-retirement period. He didn't have another theatrical release, I want to say, until like a big theatrical release, I should say, until Scrooged 5 years later. That was the other movie that kind of got him back making like Hollywood movies.
And then right after that, it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then he disappeared when his wife died.
Nope,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
Rick Moranis. I'm saying Murray.
I'm sorry. Rick Moranis. I'm sorry.
But you are
You're right.
correct. You are correct.
I don't know why, but I thought you were still. I was
Nope.
still focused on Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
And then during Groundhog Day, which would be another Ramis Murray collection, they apparently had such a famous like fight on that set that they didn't talk to each other for almost 20 years.
Right.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
like
Yeah.
Jason
Yeah.
Reitman, or was it Harold Ramis' son? I think it might have been Ramis' son. Were like, I remember as a kid, my dad and Murray like getting into a physical, throwing each other into walls fight on that movie, and then
What the
as soon
fuck?
as it like came out and they did their press and it was out, they never talked to each other up until his dad got
Like-
sick.
Up until Harold Ramis got really sick, and then Murray showed up at the house one day with some donuts and acted like they both acted. They didn't talk about it. They were both like, "Hey, hey," and they basically just made amends at the very end. Which I just so you guys know, growing up as a kid in the '80s, I fucking loved Harold Ramis. Like I was the three guys that were my go-to guys growing up were obviously Robin Williams, John Candy, and Harold Ramis. Like I loved Harold Ramis in Stripes. I thought he was awesome in Stripes. I know Murray is a leading guy, but Ramis helped carry. Like he was the backbone of that movie, and I loved him as Spengler. And I liked the legacy and afterlife that the tribute they paid to him. But yeah, so hearing when he passed away, I was very sad about that. But I always knew about the rumor about what happened, and it wasn't until after Harold Ramis died that Murray finally spoke up about it. And hey, yeah, it was real ugly for them. It ruined their friendship, and they just stopped talking for 20 years. Just think of all the movies, the collaborations we missed out with
God.
those two guys, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that
Especially
was
in the '90s.
one of the reasons they had done other Ghostbusters properties, but
Right.
they didn't really work together on them.
No.
It was really Aykroyd, like just through force of will, making that video game that they were all in.
Yep.
But as far as I remember, they recorded separately. Like they didn't really work together. It was all done, VO style, where they weren't in the
Right.
room. And it really, it wouldn't be until like the end of his life that they were able to reconnect at all, which is just
Right.
sad.
And in the 2016, like as soon as Harold Ramis passed in 2014, when they talked in 2015 about doing that quasi reboot, Bill Murray was the one to reach out to the production team and say, "Hey, I want to do something, at least make a cameo, because this was a big deal for him, for Ramis, and I wanted to do something for him, to be a part of it. But even still, like for the better part of 25 years, he was kind of a dick. I'm not gonna lie, Bill Murray, about like doing projects, Ghostbuster projects, even if they weren't exactly in the same room together. Just if they were both involved, he would always kind of just, yeah, I'm in, and then he'd step out. Apparently, Dan Aykroyd tells a story on a podcast about how they had a Ghostbusters 3 script years later, I think in the late 90s, ready to go, and Murray was said he was all on board, and then they sent him the script, and he returned it back, kind of just torn apart and saying no. Like, so he was playing games with them, but a lot of it had to do with their friendship, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, very talented guys, dude. They really were.
So for my notes, Fusion, I was gonna say you had some stories about the music for this movie, specifically the theme song.
So obviously you guys know Who You Gonna Call by Ray Parker Jr., right? The guy made like something upwards of $40 million off of that song, right? Well, there is an interesting backstory to that. Originally, the studio wanted to go with Huey Lewis and the News' song "I Want a New Drug." They wanted to put the song in the movie, and when Huey Lewis was like, "No, we're not going to do that. I don't want this to be a part of any type of weird type of horror comedy," then they just had somebody create a song just like it. And when the movie came out, Huey Lewis sued Ray Parker. Okay, so they settled out of court, and that was that. Apparently, he also had to pay some royalties over the years. Well, then in 2001, on VH1 Inside the Music, basically after the lawsuit, they settled out of court. There was a non-disclaimer, like both sides had to just not talk about what happened, right? And there was rumors, but there was never any confirmation. Then in 2001, Huey Lewis went on a Behind the Music to talk about his career, and he mentions that whole thing, the lawsuit. So then immediately in 2001, Ray Parker Jr. countersued him, got all the money back. But not only did he get all the money back, then he also got back, like he got royalties from Sony, because apparently Sony had withheld royalties in the whole, like, for years. So then he went and sued Sony as well. So not only that, but he also owns the song outright now. So there's no argument whatsoever. He got complete ownership of everything involved. So apparently they sued, in the 80s he sued. Huey Lewis won, and then had to get royalties out of it because it did sound like I Got a New Drug. But then in 2001, that all got screwed over because Huey Lewis couldn't keep his mouth shut, and broke a non-disclosure. So yeah, very funny situation, that whole back and forth with that. So now Ray Parker, with the whole reboot as of 2001, the 2016, when they played parts of it, and then Afterlife, they played it at the end, like, he gets royalties again. So
Fuck yeah.
it's good for Ray Parker,
Yeah.
good retirement check that he gets in royalties from it.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. And
And
because later properties, like I remember it had a huge boost after the 2021 Afterlife. Like
right,
it's
well,
in
not only
it's in
that,
the
but
credits too. Like it's
there was still that HBO expanded universe show that they were working on 2 or 3 years ago, that's been kind of just put on hold. They're not gonna it's not been canceled, but it's been on hold. He gets royalties for that because obviously they're going to play that song throughout that show. So yeah. I mean, yeah, man, it's a very funny story about how, like, Hollywood works, kind of like the quirkiness about all of that stuff. But this is one of those where it's like, oh yeah, write a song that's just like it. Okay, I'm gonna write it. It was even bigger because "I Want a New Drug" wasn't as big as they wanted it to be when that album came out, by Huey Lewis and the News. Because I think it was "Radio" was the album before that, and it was like a mega hit in like 80, 81. But then, a year late, we talk about this, but then a year later, after Ghostbusters, his biggest contribution to the movie industry is on the Back to the Future soundtrack. So, whatever. I guess it all works out for these guys in the end. They all get their money.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hollywood quirks, though, I assume, Fusion, you're aware of. I don't know if our other two hosts, you guys know the story about the test screening audiences.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So they initially were just like, "Hey, a couple hundred people off the street, come watch this movie and let us know what you think," right? Like, and so they tested extremely well. Like from the first scene, Ramis and Reitman were like, "Yo, it's gonna hit." Even without the finished production shots on the VFX stuff, they were like, audiences are reacting exactly like we want them to. And then they would also test it for the insiders, that Columbia Pictures put together, because this was a Columbia production. And Coca-Cola actually owned, or at least at the time owned, Columbia. That was their parent company. Said, and I quote, "Gee, we're going to lose our shirts." And one of the executives at, I think maybe it was their agent that had an executive at Columbia tell them, "Don't worry, we all make mistakes." They thought it was a bomb. They thought it sucked. They thought it was too expensive because for a comedy, especially, it very was much so at the time. And they were like this. They just absolutely did not get it at all. And then right before, like, then they had their big marketing with, instead of using the guys, they did that Ghostbusters, the no ghost symbol, and then
Yep.
the marketing worked extremely well for it. And then it would go on to greatly recoup its marketing and production budget over the lifetime. And I think as of now, it's a $1 billion franchise, much like
Oh, shit. Let's
Taken.
go.
Taken is just about a $1 billion franchise from our last one. This is with now it's got the 5 movies in total, plus the TV show, the animated one, and then
Yep.
the video game. It's definitely an over $1 billion franchise. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And there were multiple video games. I had
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a video game for my I think it was it a Game Boy
Oh, yeah, there's
Advance
several.
game of the cartoon one that was fantastic, but I
Was
remember
that the
playing
real
that all the time.
Ghostbusters? What that was?
I can't remember.
Wasn't
I
that the
could look
animated
it
show?
up.
I have to remember.
No, the animated show
Uh,
was called The Real Ghostbusters.
I thought, but it's been a while
Yeah,
since I've been in that space.
Yeah, because in the 50s there was another cartoon show called The Ghostbusters. And so when they wanted to go into it wasn't a cartoon, it was a live action show, a black and white live action show called The Ghostbusters. And when they went and claimed the IP for the movie, there was no conflict. But then when they wanted to do a cartoon TV show, then that TV show from I think it's the 50s or 60s. I just remember, yeah, there's like they have a pet monkey that helps them run around, like an ape that runs around helping solve crime. It's great. One of the characters is this guy. He's got like a brim hat that he runs. That's his signature hat or whatever. There's all these weird things about it. It was a quirky show that I think it was in the late 50s that it came out. But anyway, when the cartoon was going to come out, the studio that owned the original TV show then produced a cartoon of their own of that original 50s show called the Ghostbusters. But then, so that's why they called this show The Real Ghostbusters. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think now Columbia, the studio, who owns Columbia now? Is it Warner Brothers? I don't remember who owns
I
Columbia.
want to say Paramount
Paramount. Okay,
because it's
sounds like
streaming
a-
on Paramount, even
Yeah,
though
yeah.
like it's a Sony disc and like Afterlife was Sony.
Right.
So I don't know who owns this one. Rights are fucking weird.
Yeah, there's so many layers to it. Like basically, the song, the Ray Parker song, is owned by Sony.
Yeah,
So,
it is Sony Pictures Entertainment.
Okay, so it's Sony. Well, yeah, when years, like I don't know, like 15, almost 20 years ago, the whole thing got settled out, on the side, and so Sony owns outright the concept of like the actual product Ghostbusters. So they don't have to go. The cartoon is still called the Real Ghostbusters because that's what it was known as when you were a kid. But when you look at like production sales, it's just listed as the Ghostbusters cartoon show. Like it's not the Real Ghostbusters. So yeah, but they're not. If you were to go purchase a DVD, they're not going to change the intro to just they remove the Real Ghostbusters. They're just going to leave it as such. But it's just titled as Ghostbusters now. So yeah, they own Ghostbusters outright.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think one of the ones that I had was one of the Extreme Ghostbusters games,
Oh yes,
which
the
was
Extreme ones, yeah.
which was based on the cartoon at the time. I just
Right.
don't remember which one because there seems to be like 6 or 7
Wasn't there a-
Extreme Ghostbuster
Wasn't there a
games.
video game in like 2012 too that looked like it was supposed to be pretty cool, like a first person shooter
Yeah,
type?
and there was the first. There's a
Oh,
recent
I don't-
one, which was the.
There's a 2009 one that was
No, 9-1. Okay.
the big one. Yeah,
Was that the one that had the cast?
I believe so. It's just on the wiki.
And then there was that
Um,
most recently one, the one with I want to say Raul Coley's in it because he voices like the spirit guide,
Okay.
and you're like going around. It's like 4v1 asymmetrical, style. You're hunting ghosts, and you can either be the
Mhm.
ghost or be Ghostbusters, which didn't seem to have very many legs. A lot of those games didn't, like Predator Hunting Grounds and stuff like that. Like, did they that? Is it got a really niche audience for how much it costs to make those games?
Yeah. It looks like it was the 2009 one that the actual cast was in, and then there
Okay.
was another one that came out in 2016 for I don't know much about this one, but It was like for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. It didn't seem to do that one didn't seem to do too well. 2 out of 10, 4 out of 10 best. So I think the 2009 one was the really good one that people
Yeah.
really liked.
Yep.
Speaking of doing well, though, Fusion may know this off the top of his head. Do you know what movie actually beat this at the box office in 1984? I actually just bought the
Wow.
4K of it this year.
Trying to think
I
here.
had the Blu-ray for a long time, and it's one of my parents. It's
Hmm.
actually the movie my parents went to on their first date,
In 1984.
or not even
Hmm.
not first date. They might have already been dating by then, but they were like
I'll be
they have a
honest with you,
story with
1984 was
this
a great
movie.
year. It's not ET
Was,
because that's 83.
was it the same one that beat it in best visual effects in the Oscar category?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look.
I
Hang
think
on.
the last Starfighter was in 1983 too. No, the last Starfighter was also 84, which is a fucking great movie, by the way. But that came out a month after Ghostbusters. Oh god, this is gonna kill me, isn't
Stars
it?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
Beverly
right.
Hills
That's
Cop.
right.
Ah,
That's right.
okay.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
just barely though. Like, it was pretty close.
Was that one a rated R comedy? I think so,
I
right?
think so. If I had to guess,
Yeah.
because it's definitely got more violence to it, more
God,
overt
man, the mid
violence.
'80s had some
Oh, yeah.
great movies, man. These guys were so talented, hitting the scene. All these SNL and the Second City guys, like there was so much talent there. Three Amigos was 85 or 86.
Roughly, yeah. It was after this, but it was. I love that
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It's
God, there were just some great
very
movies
fun.
back then.
I'll shoot you so full of lead you'll be using your dick as a pencil is one of my all-time favorite lines. It's so fucking good. Steve Martin nails it. Ah, so
Dude,
good.
I love Steve Martin.
He's
I
so
feel like
good.
he could have made a decent Venkman in this, but I understand the Murray choice. I just think that Steve Martin could have done a Venkman pretty
Oh yeah,
decently.
absolutely. So yeah, of course, I'm assuming this is your guys' favorite of the franchise.
Of
Oh, yeah.
course.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
100% is.
yeah. As a film, I think I'd probably it'd go this one and then Afterlife, and then
I agree.
Agreed.
two, and then I haven't seen, Frozen Empire, so I'm not gonna put that in
Me either.
anywhere. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is one of my all-time, as I've said before, one of my all-time this is one of my Mount Rushmore movies. If I find somebody that's never seen it, we are going to watch it
Right.
Yeah.
and have a great time.
And this is the one,
Mhm.
like you mentioned at the beginning of this, that the 4K mastering is really good. It's so hard for them to do the transfers from those 80s special effects to now. But yeah, you're right. The 4K is really good. I like the 4K of this one.
Yeah, it looked good. It let nice and clean transfer, which
Yeah,
is
clean transfer.
not consistent across the medium, but generally Sony does them pretty good.
Another one is the 85 Back to the Future. Looks great.
Yeah.
4K transfer.
Yeah, it really depends on did they give a shit. Like the Indiana Jones
Right.
ones, also fantastic. They look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Crystal Skull, or not Crystal Skull, Temple of Doom was 84
It
as
was
well.
indeed. Yeah, that was a
Yes.
top
And
10 for box
Yeah.
office.
that was the one that beat it in visual effects, and also must have been released before Ghostbusters, because that is one of those ones that I've always been like, how's this a PG rating?
Yep.
And then with the whole thing about earlier, the PG
Temple of Doom is the reason why PG-13 was defined.
right.
Was
Yeah.
because of Temple of Doom, because it originally was what they had pushed so hard to not get an R rating on that movie, because they knew if it was an R-rated movie that it wasn't going to attract families. They knew
Mhm.
that. And so like the review board initially came back with a rating of R, and they pushed hard, and they finally got it. They had to shave a few things off because it is a practical effect movie, but like those are practical effects of Temple of Doom were just so gritty and raw.
Oh
The
yeah.
hard
So
scene.
good.
Apparently, the hard scene, there's a lot more to it that was cut off. So yeah,
Right.
The
so yeah,
bugs
And the
always messed me
occult
up.
back in the day.
Yeah.
yep, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
occult back in the day was
there's so many
crazy.
layers to what took place in '84, but man, these movies could have easily been bombs financially. We wouldn't have gotten more IP, but Ghostbusters 2, was a bad movie, but we got The Last Crusade, because of PG-13, which I love The Last Crusade.
Oh, Last
Fucking love
Crusade
that
freaking
movie.
rules.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
Sean
Oh.
Connery's so great in that movie,
It's
man.
awesome.
But
That's my favorite Indiana Jones right there.
Hey, but guys, seriously, 1984 was a great fucking year for movies. There
Oh
was
yeah, we had
great
some
movies out.
absolute bangers.
Yep.
And I'm kind of I almost like for one of my choice movies was because I bought the 4K this year. Beverly Hills Cop was in my rotation of like I'm gonna make sure we watch
Yes.
this on the podcast. So it might have to work its way in here because it's just such a great movie. It's so good.
That's a great movie.
It's so good. Speaking of great movies, though, we should actually give this one a score. It's not a shock that I'm going to say this is a 5 out of 5. Fusion,
Yeah, same here.
I was going to say, Fusion, what's yours? Is this a 5 out of
5 out of 5. Fucking love this movie. Great movie, man.
Joey, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's 5. You can't say more or less. It's so good. No, like.
And Chris.
Apologies. I'm going 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I think it's a great movie. My issues are like I think it ends like super abruptly. It's like here's the conflict, here's the end of the climax, and then the movie just credits. Like there's not a whole lot of I would like to see a little bit more afterwards.
Okay.
But I'm kind of comparing this to other comedies, and I definitely don't think it's on the level of Galaxy Quest, which that is peak genre comedy.
Okay.
This is just below that. So this is like a 4.75, but we don't get that. So I gotta just put it at a 4.5.
Okay.
I
Fair
can't
enough.
put it on the same level as Galaxy Quest.
Fair enough.
can't.
Hey, that's
you-
reasonable.
But movies like Ghostbusters walked so Galaxy Quest could run,
Oh,
man.
Exactly.
Like,
It's
I mean,
still a great
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie at all.
It's in
just
the
that I
Library of
cannot-
Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot just
And people forget
personally
how
put it on the same level.
how influential this movie was because they noticed after this movie there was a huge enrollment in theoretical physicists at Columbia University. It made the New York Library a historical landmark because of the traffic that this movie drew to that to that library. So it did a lot other than just become an entertaining movie for the last 40
Mhm.
years. It's left a kind of interesting mark, Plus the whole thing of sci-fi comedies, I think it paved the way for people to take chances on sci-fi comedies, really.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was also culturally a big moment for like, yeah, marketing actually matters.
Right,
like
right.
like the obviously the symbology with just the symbol, like letting the symbol do the work of like the marketing instead of the face of your cast was a newer trend in marketing for movies. And even just like the term busters, like, Ghostbusters, like that would become a term that would be used in a number of different industries, largely because of the marketing success of this film. So it really changed a lot, in small little ways. And then, like I said, apparently the first historic usage of toast as a slang term, which is such a
That's really
weird
cool.
little thing that they're able to track back to this movie.
Yeah.
The little ways that art changes people's lives. So, all right, that's what we're going to call it for this episode, I think. It was a little longer than I thought we were going to go, but hey, we got some good conversations out of it.
And for anybody who was wondering, Bill Murray's in this movie and in Kingpin, so we don't have to worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
No issue.
that is the connection to
No
Kingpin.
issue.
This one's a 0. It's a goose egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even
Yep.
have a 1. One of these days we'll get
find,
a 2.
We'll find that too. Yeah.
We
We'll
need to-
find that too.
If you have Chris, we should get you one of those poppers, and then whenever we get a 2, you have to use it.
Dude, I'll like light up my entire room with like a strobe light. We'll have a freaking rave in here.
Yeah, when and if that ever happens, we got to do that.
Yeah. We'll
Ah,
do something.
so weird. All right, the next movie is going to be Paranorman in about 2 weeks' time, give or take, depending on fall schedules and when we can get together to record. And then in Discord, if you're in our Discord, you can watch Black Phone with us sooner than later. We got to figure out when we're going to do that because the sequel's coming out this Friday. Black Phone 2, so we're going to watch The Black Phone, which I really dug. not a huge horror movie buff.
Oh,
Black Phone was dope. Ethan Hawke was
Yeah.
amazing in it, so
I do love Ethan Hawke.
he was great. So that's what we're gonna call it, and we'll see you all for the next one.
bye.
Get busted!